Hey guys, Mark Walker with Mark's Off-Road again. So you got yourself a new steering rack. There's a couple of things I want you to do before you go to install it. We're gonna pull the boots back and double check the inner tie rods now. Can't move them by hand obviously, but we are going to double check them with a wrench and make sure they are tight. Let's go over to the vise. I'm going to chuck it in the vise. Grab a handy dandy wrench. Okay, it was not super tight. That one was not super tight either. So, I've had them that you couldn't get loose, and I've had them that just vibrated loose. So, here's the whole point of this, is if you're going to run these things, doesn't matter who you buy them from, who you get them from, or whatever. If you're putting it on, go ahead and put extra Loctite on it. You can see here this Loctite is not dry. I'm wiping it off with my finger. So we definitely want to put extra Loctite on it. Okay. Alright, we're going to take a little bit of brake clean and wipe the threads just to make sure that they're not oily. Okay, we're going to put some Loctite on the internal and the external threads. Put quite a bit on there. It's better to have too much than not enough. Then we'll just go ahead and run it in and get ready to tighten it up. I'm just going to grab this big adjustable wrench and tighten it up pretty tight, probably around 120 foot-pounds. And then we'll just skip over to the other side and start it. Now, the next thing you want to do is center your rack. I'm sure they do that from the factory, but we're going to do it again. The way I do it is I push it all the way to one end. I'll put me a little mark right here. I'll pull it to the other end. I'll put me a little mark on it. And now all we have to do is go to what looks like the middle and then put those two marks centered over the green one. That should be the middle. If you look right there, those two marks are pretty much centered over the green one. So we turned it all the way one way, all the way the other way, and that's how far it went. Now the reason I'm putting this mark is strictly so I can see if I accidentally move it when I put it in. Because this is the the driver's side, this is what I'll be able to see. Okay, you can do this while it's in the car, but while it's open here, I'm gonna go ahead and put the grease gun on it and give it just a little bit of grease. And it seems that more's leaking out to the outside than going in, so I don't like that grease fitting. I'm going to change that grease fitting. We have replaced the first grease fitting, which is the one that comes in it, and it's pretty much junk, with a better grease fitting that don't leak. We went ahead and put the boot and the zip ties back on this end, buttoned it up. We went ahead and run our locking nut down. I'm going to turn it over and do the other end. Okay, we'll smear just a little extra grease in the end of it. Just a little extra on here. The grease on the end will get added to the bushing as it gets turned. And the biggest downfall of any of these is water. Take our boot, install our boot onto the rack, the new zip tie. Take you a pair of side cutters. These side cutters I have got ground to where they don't leave that razor sharp zip tie finger cutter on the end. I hate that. These I ground off flush. They're specifically for zip ties. That's all I use them for. But you can cut off a zip tie here if you hold it nice and flush, and it leaves no sharp edge sticking out. Go ahead and run my locking nut down just so I don't have to do it in a minute. We're going to set this in the car.